Hello, MGTOW money magnets. Spider here. Welcome back. I want to talk a little bit about divorce with you guys today. I've been divorced one time in my life, and I am not married, of course, but I was divorced about 8 years ago. And at the time, it was a pretty devastating event. And I think any of you MGTOWs who have gone your own way after a divorce know what I'm talking about. Just seeing your resources being taken from you and seeing your children trying to be taken away from you and things like that. It was just really, really, really devastating. But that was during the divorce. Divorce was not sad for me after I was through that part of it. Divorce was an amazing time for me, and it should be for you too, if you will focus on the right things. I can tell you this. Let me tell you a little story. I was in the grocery store one day, and this is when I was married. And I ran into an old boss of mine, and he was walking through the aisle, and I ran into him. And I'm telling you, he looked like he had aged 15 years, and I had seen him last year. And I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, he got a divorce. His wife had cheated on him, which I found out later. And she left him for his boss or some craziness like that. And he was really, really destroyed in my mind. I'm like, this guy is, he was a vibrant, smart, successful guy. And the guy I was looking at was the opposite of that. He was a beaten man. Well, he's turned it around since then. But I just remember thinking to myself, I am so glad that I'm not going to get divorced. And I'm so glad that I am not in his spot. Less than a year later, I was in his spot. But I made a commitment. When I saw him like that, I thought of him when I realized I was getting divorced. And I said, that is not going to be me. And so the question wasn't, how do I survive this? The question was, how do I use this to turn my life into a beautiful representation of my dreams? That was my goal. I'm like, look, marriage sucks, honestly, where you're living your life for someone else. It really isn't good. The only thing good about marriage is if you have children. If you're married and you don't have children, who gives a shit? Seriously. Children are the thing that makes divorce so sad to me. Because your wife is, it's not about all the great sex, I swear. If any of you married guys, you know what I'm talking about. But once you get divorced, your time is your own. Every decision you make is right. When you're married, just about every decision you make is wrong, even though you are the guy running the show. My wife didn't even work, didn't provide any money to the household. She would work a little bit, but all the money went to her. And so she burned money, and she would make judgments about the decisions I made. And so the thing I've learned is a lot of times is that women don't want to run shit. They want to run you while you run shit. And so every decision I made after I was divorced was correct and has been the right decision. And when you get divorced, I'm telling you, you will be closer to your kids. You think your kids are going to be devastated because of divorce, and it is painful for them, and it does cause problems for them. However, as a man, your relationship with your children will be a lot better when you don't have your wife looking over your shoulder like a panel of judges telling you how to raise your kid. I'm telling you, it's an amazing thing. My daughter and I are closer than we could have ever been had I remained married. There's about 10 times less stress. 10 times less stress. 10x your stress when you get married. You got to make sure she's happy. And of course she never is. She's never happy. And so you end up, chasing your tail instead of chasing tail like you should be. Anyway, there's a lot less stress. My wife wrecked her car 3 times in 5 years. And so there's just that kind of bullshit you don't have to put up with anymore. Everything you do is your own and you own it. Your money is your own. My wife, when I first married her, we bought sheets that cost $1,200. Sheets that cost $1,200. I'm like, okay, they must be great sheets. We used them like 2 times, and then they tore to shreds. They were terrible. 1,200 clams. It was ridiculous. And another great thing that you will find when you get divorced is there's plenty of women out there trying to put you right back into the blue pill mode, but they'll have sex with you. And so you have to, you don't, some of the MGTOW community is like, I reject women altogether. That's not me. I reject relationships altogether, long term especially. Until I find one that I can't live without. And until you find one you can't live without, you go your own way. And so I don't see myself finding one I can't live without. But I'm telling you, the sex that you will have after your divorce will be some of the best in your life. I used to have a discussion with a guy who owned a bagel shop, and he was divorced and I was divorced and we were both single. And he's since gone on to screw his life up again, but I have not. But we would have the discussion with another friend of mine who never got married. And we would make fun that he's never been married, even though he's, you know, of age where he should have been married by now if he was going to be. We made fun of him that he doesn't know what it means to be single. You don't know what it means to be single unless you've been married. It's like unless you lose your freedom, you don't really appreciate your freedom. So keep that in mind. So divorce is one of the best things that ever happened to me, honestly. And so I want you to focus on that too. If you're going to build your life, you're going to make money, you're going to focus on money, you're going to focus on success, and you're not going to let divorce destroy you. I hate these things that say, oh, I'm surviving divorce. Survival is never the goal unless things are really, really bad. Surviving is not the goal. Thriving and winning is the goal. So let me just leave you with that. It's your life. You make the rules. Make it a masterpiece.